We are live now. You can please go ahead.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Santosh Parasar. I am from ASSOCHAM, Department of Corporate Affairs. I very warmly welcome your esteemed participation to ASSOCHAM National Dialogue Series on India Affirmative Action, Future of SC/ST Entrepreneurs, which is being organized under ASSOCHAM's annual Meet 2022 and Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. We are honored to have very eminent guests who have joined with us today. We have with us a special guest, Mr. V. Satya Venkata Rao. He is Deputy Managing Director of Small Industries Development Bank of India, SIDBI. We welcome you, sir. We have Ms. Shiza Nair. She is Senior Head Monitoring at National Skill Development Corporation. We welcome you, Madam Nair. We welcome Mr. Sanjeev Dangi. He is the Vice President of Dalit India Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Dicky. We have been joined by Ms. Shivangi Misra, PMU, National SC/ST Hub from National Small Industries Corporation. We have with us Mr. Vasudev Mukherjee, Assistant Secretary General, ASSOCHAM. Mr. Gurdeep Singh, he is ASSOCHAM Task Force Chair for Social Inclusion and Affirmative Action. He is Managing Director, Simran Holidays Private Limited. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, affirmative action is India's one of the priority policy agenda, and various agencies under the government of India and private sector are dedicatedly implementing multiple projects to bring out a transformative impact to the lives of deprived ones. An increased pace of skill development, employment generation, as well as entrepreneurship programs alongside financial assistance under various schemes are always pillar. Affirmative action is an important term which is used worldwide. This is being a subject to be researched on an ongoing basis, and gaps need to be filled wherever they are lying there. However, the words affirmative actions to be too much technical in terms for reference and understanding of those who are actually still deprived and are supposed to be the beneficiary of the social inclusion. Therefore, what can be the best to increase an understanding of the deprived stakeholders in the country is to translate these words into action. Furthermore, and in the manner, what can be the best to sensitize them, invite and attract their active participation as a mainstream beneficiaries beyond their traditional involvement in the profession, services, and enterprises in which they are engaged so far. The participation of private sector in this area is also key. ASSOCHAM, being apex industry body representing private sector employers from all over India, has been also the part of this transformative journey and has been contributing. And today, ASSOCHAM will add value by marking the opening and launching of a dedicated center for information and mentoring of SC/ST entrepreneurs. We trust that the center will cater the information and mentoring needs of SC/ST entrepreneurs in an effective and efficient manner, and will join hands with the other bodies and agencies under Government of India. This national dialogue is supported by TCIL Group, Renew Power, SpiceJet, and Smart Bharat Group. The event partner is SIDBI, and program is supported by Bombay Stock Exchange Investor Protection Fund, Suman Khetan and Company Advocates, and Khetan Solicitors and Advocates, and Electronic Corporation of India. At the outset, I would like to invite Mr. Vasudev Mukherjee, Assistant Secretary General, ASSOCHAM, for your opening and welcome address. I welcome you, Mr. Vasudev Mukherjee. Sir, you are muted, I think.
Is this better?
Yes.
Mr. Sanjeev Dangi, Vice President, Dalit India Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Ms. Shija Nair, Senior Head, National Skills Development Corporation. Mr. Satya Venkatarao, Deputy Managing Director, SIDBI. Mr. Gurdeep Singh, ASSOCHAM Task Force Chair on Social Inclusion and Affirmative Action and Managing Director, Simran Holidays Private Limited. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome you all to ASSOCHAM's National Dialogue series, India Affirmative Action, Future of SCST Entrepreneurs, Mitigating Risks and Challenges and Strategies Way Forward. Affirmative action refers to a set of policies and practices within a government or organization favoring groups based on their gender, race, creed, or nationality in areas in which they were excluded in the past, such as education and employment. ASSOCHAM affirmative action policies are aimed at increasing opportunities for those groups of people which have been neglected by the society. They are mainly focused on providing employment and education opportunities. The major economic constraints pointed out by SCST entrepreneurs are that startup initiatives are not encouraged and it is difficult to get subsidies from financial institutions. Having limited contacts outside is another major social constraint faced by them. Ease of finance to fulfill short term capital needs is also a major challenge for the SCST entrepreneurs. We need to ensure that there is ample amount of awareness about government schemes such as the single point registration scheme, marketing assistance scheme, performance and credit rating scheme, and which need to be enhanced. The delivery and content of these programs require effective changes. Contact between SCST entrepreneurs and venture capitalists need to be strengthened so that they can be nurtured and guided initially. Access to institutional finance should be made easier, and a web portal should be provided to enable them to exchange information with other entrepreneurs free of cost. Skill development workshops should be a part of startup schemes to educate them. Such type of awareness is very important to disseminate the loan provisions. Operational challenges related to cash flow management, delegation of tasks, choosing of products to sell, hiring of employees, time management are also issues faced by the entrepreneurs while setting up their business. India's socio-economic growth potential has influence of the country's distinctive caste-based system and pose obstacles to inclusiveness. Leveraging economic and competitive benefits of demographic dividend in India is not fully attainable if anti-competitive exclusion to any segment of society from the market economy is not eliminated. This has reference to representation of SCST owners in MSME sector during 2018-19, which was merely 12.45% and 4.10% respectively. Inclusion and competitiveness are inextricably linked with competitive economic progress and development. During the pre-COVID-19 phase, SC and ST entrepreneurs were striving to obtain access and participate in the growth of the country by contributing with their higher active role, especially in the non-traditional service sector, by setting up startups with the support of institutional sources of credit and various schemes of the government of India. The COVID-19 pandemic has impacted such entrepreneurial spirit of SCST promoters distinctively, as several such business dreamers lost their hopes midway or before their enterprises could have taken off operations. The capital investment made on knowledge enhancements and for procurement of resources has been unproductively foregone in several cases, and perceived outcome of inclusiveness has been adversely hit by the pandemic. ASSOCHAM, during several interfaces with government, has already initiated the advocacy for 4% reservation for procurement from SCST entrepreneurs in public procurement policy. Further, towards exploring fresh opportunities and overcoming challenges, there is an urgent need for concerted efforts to ensure that SCST entrepreneurs get their due share of concessions and revival incentives alongside project funding and MSME sector benefits are available under various schemes. This will be enabling and empowering marginalized and deprived segments of society which pertain to definition of affirmative action to uplift not only social economic status but also the much needed key role and participation in the business and to increase the overall country's overall growth prospects. Moreover, the global COVID-19 pandemic has impacted the entrepreneurs' financial metrics and the whole range of available solutions. The pandemic and its potential impact on the business arena have created a wide variety of issues and challenges in front of the firms, businesses, jurists, experts, and corporate, which have resulted in slowdown of all work and processes important for the society's welfare. ASSOCHAM has been very proactive in showcasing such issues for wider consultation, and this virtual conference is an attempt to broad base and share the experiences amongst the participants. I believe that the event will lead to a larger section of business, fraternity, and corporates who are attending this event. Once again, a very warm welcome and thank you all for joining this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mukherjee, for your welcome address. Now I would like to take the opportunity of inviting Mr. Sanjeev Dangi, Vice President of the India Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Over to you, Mr. Sanjeev.
To everyone, Mr. Venkatrao, DMD SIDBI, Ms. Shivangi Misra, NSIC, SCST Hub, Ms. Nair, Mr. Basudev Mukherjee, who just spoke, Mr. Gurdeep Singh, Chair for the ASSOCHAM Task Force. I hope I'm audible to all.
Yes, sir. You are audible, please.
So, Phil, today's topic for your National Dialogue series in the India Affirmative Action, the future of SCST entrepreneurs, mitigating risks and challenges and strategies and way forward. And I would also like to compliment ASSOCHAM. They're launching their Center for Information and Mentoring of SCST entrepreneurs. So what are we looking at really in entrepreneurship? Overall entrepreneurship, there is a changing global pattern of consumption, especially as Mr. Mukherjee just mentioned, post-COVID, things have changed drastically. So the overall, there is more connectivity today, there is more information exchange, more knowledge. There is decreasing trend in cost due to digitization, even in the country and abroad. There's a lot of automation going on, which is, on one hand, decreasing the cost, but also taking away jobs. So there are many fundamental societal shifts. The future, what we look at businesses today, and what most of the businesses, most of the countries are looking at, are more sustainable ways of development, more environment friendly. We want to address the environmental concerns. And India and China always been on the receiving end on this. And here we are talking about, SC/ST communities who are even at the bottom of the pyramid of this. So you can understand how much efforts we'll have to make to mainstream them. So we also have to look at, is India future ready for the businesses? We have to do our own SWOT analysis. We have to see, what are the cultural, traditional, or the historical economic impacts on businesses. The traditional way we were doing businesses, the family-owned businesses, or the new startups, the MSMEs, unicorns, everything is there in the market now. Everything is changing day by day. So we have to really understand where we fit in, where we have to work more, how we can help these startups who, today are the future markets. So people are investing so much in that. And we also have to understand, most importantly, what is a population asset in terms of education, skill development. Are we creating that business ecosystem? So this is in general when we talk about the future of businesses and how we should move forward. Now we really have to look, where does the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe communities stand in this changing world scenario. And here we have to look at both, the existing entrepreneurs as well as the aspiring entrepreneurs. See, it is, at one hand, there is a lot of policy support, there is a lot of talk about affirmative action. Government is doing a lot. That is making things easier for these communities to come into the market, for the newcomers, for the aspirational class to come into the market. But at the other hand, because of these changing global dynamics, it is also becoming very difficult for them. So it is working both ways. We really have to understand what are the gaps. Mr. Mukherjee mentioned some of them, but what are the gaps? We have to understand them, we have to identify them, we have to understand them, and we have to help mitigate them. As some of them Mr. Mukherjee has already mentioned, but I'll talk about the sticky floor phenomena here. We all talk about sticky floor phenomena in gender discrimination or whatever. But scheduled caste, scheduled tribe communities have a huge sticky floor phenomena, at least in terms of coming to entrepreneurship. Again, yes, there is a difficult to access financial capital. And this is mainly because of the low collateral base. They don't have collaterals to give because of traditional and historical reasons. Then they have very, very limited social capital. Most of them are first generation entrepreneurs, the existing ones, or even the aspirational ones who want to become, they have nobody to look up to in their family or even the community nearby. There is a lot of resistance in accessing the market. Well, we have a 4% procurement policy with the government of India. But again, to avail that, we all know that, it has hardly hit 1% till now. So to avail that, there are again many challenges, connecting, tendering, so that there is a resistance to access that market from both sides, from the entrepreneur's end also, and from the procurement side also, there is resistance. And needless to say, the industry has not made any such policy of procurement from these groups, which I think is the need of the day. Then, of course, there is lack of awareness and knowledge about whatever schemes and policy support is there. What are the latest technologies to access? What are the market conditions? There's a lack of managerial or the management support. Also, there is a lack of of motivation. Still, many people are just looking for jobs. See, we have to understand here that there are various indicators of development. The per capita, what is your income per capita, what is your energy consumption per capita. So there are various indicators of development, direct and indirect. One of the indirect indicators is also how much, what proportion of working population is working as entrepreneurs. If you look at this data of all the developed countries, you will find that more than 10% of that working population, eligible population, are entrepreneurs. In India, it is close to 6%. So there is a huge gap. Somewhere we'll have to meet this indicator. We want to become a developed country. So then we have to concentrate on the people who have been left behind. And of course, we have to look at what challenges they are facing, and we have to understand it, and we have to address them. So as I said, there's a lack of motivation. We have to motivate them, we have to make them understand. And if some are willing to start, but then most don't know what to start, where to start. Finance, again, initial finance plus working capital, upgradation funds. We have to look at finance also in terms of where will the margin money come from, where will the debt come from. Most people, when they start their businesses, they don't understand that working capital plays a very important role. You might set up a factory, you don't have working capital. Personally, I have seen so many people failing in their businesses because they started work and they didn't have any working capital to spend on. So that knowledge is required. It is required to be given to them. Then again, as their first generation, how to manage the business once you start, what are the statutory compliances, are the legal compliances, and market access. As I said, the ease of market access is necessary. There have been many initiatives by the government of late, last 5-10 years, to bridge this gap. We had the in the fine for procurement, the procurement policy came. Then for the finance, there is Mudra, Stand Up India, venture capital fund is there. Recently, venture capital fund for scheduled tribe was also started in this budget. So there have been a finance scheme, there has been procurement scheme, there is a national SCST hub, which was meant to address, which was made to address all these issues, what we are discussing right now. But then we have to think as an industry, if this country needs to grow, if we need to attain the kind of growth and development, forget the the moral obligation or the social obligation what we had. Besides that, also there is a huge economic sense for affirmative action. Unless the private sector does not do it in a mission mode, we are not going to achieve our desired results. So these were some of the challenges. What do we need to actually understand? uh, See, first and foremost, affirmative action. I'm sorry, but most chambers do not understand what is affirmative action. At best, they think it is a part of CSR. No, it is not a part of the CSR. It is something completely different. We have to first understand what exactly is affirmative action. See, some of the problems I have just mentioned, because of paucity of time, we can just make some pointed references. But we have to understand. We have to go into nitty-gritties of each and every challenge, each and every problems these communities are facing. Just doing a CSR or just saying we have done our mandatory bit is not enough. It is not enough. So we have to, in true sense, we have to understand what exactly is affirmative action, where are the problems, and how do we address them. Not only for the existing entrepreneurs, but also for the aspirants. So again, we are all signatories to the sustainable development goals. How does the country achieve the sustainable development goals? Can affirmative action be a tool to achieve these goals? I mean, reducing inequalities, poverty, hunger. See, this is all affirmative action. So I think these SDG goals cannot be achieved by the government. If we have to meet out the targets what have been chalked out for achieving this, and India Inc. can play the various chambers, be it ASSOCHAM, be it CII, FICCI, PhD chambers, the bigger ones. You can actually play a huge role by sensitizing the members and working on affirmative action, which will help us achieve these goals. And of course, needless to say, it will augment the government's target of economic growth and development. We also have to, align our recruitment, training, development, you know, maybe some growth, progress in HR. We have to align whatever we are doing with if we can do it with affirmative action. We don't have to do it mandatorily, but we can definitely voluntarily, whatever we can do, we should do that. So it'll be a huge benefit. It's a win-win for the people who actually need that help and direction. It'll be a win-win for the country, which will spur more economic growth. And of course, your bottom line, all the end of the day, all the company's bottom line is also going to increase if there is growth and development. So, somehow I feel somewhere the way of working, the way of the private sector works. See, whatever the government is doing will have to do. It is doing, but that is not enough. Maybe it can be just a catalyst of what the larger role the industry needs to play. So this is what, and I'm very happy that ASSOCHAM is starting this information center, and we have been working closely with SIDBI also for a long time now, and we have our own Solamban Sankalp series. We are as a chamber working towards development of scheduled caste and scheduled tribe communities. We are doing a lot with SIDBI. Recently we are working with IFCI and the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. But again, we are trying to create tech startups from scheduled caste communities, to kickstart. These people don't have the understanding of incubation centers. They don't get the venture capital. So we are trying to bridge all that gap, which is using the latest technologies, using the whatever is there in the market. So SIDBI, IFCI, they have been great partners with us. So I would expect that ASSOCHAM, I'm very happy that it is doing a great this thing, and maybe we are also starting a mentoring network along with IFCI, and maybe when these things prime a little, we can see what are the common synergies we have, and maybe create a common platform where more and more people can benefit. Maybe even the SCST hub can come on board. So again, I think I've already overshot my time. So, but thank you very much for hearing me out and for inviting me. And once again, congratulations to ASSOCHAM on their new initiative. And wherever Dickie's support is required, we are always there to help you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sanjeev Dangi, for your remarks, your experience sharing, and the pricing of what risk challenges they are existing, and how we may look forward handing hold with Dicky as well towards this new initiative that we are going to start with. Thank you very much. Now I would like to take opportunity of inviting Ms. Shiza Nair. She's a senior head on National Skill Development Corporation. I welcome and invite you, Ms. Shiza Nair, please. Over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Parashar, very much. And thank you to ASSOCHAM for having me speak at this important webinar today. A very warm good afternoon to all my co-panelists and all the participating members. May I please request your team to switch on the PowerPoint? I just have a few slides more to keep me focused and not overshoot the time that I've been allocated, and just to give your participants a glimpse of what NSDC does and how ASSOCHAM can collaborate with us in this important agenda going forward. Next slide, please. Yeah, thank you. So quickly, to give everybody participating a glance of of what NSDC is all about. As many of you would know, the National Skill Development Corporation was set up by the Ministry of Finance as a public-private partnership. We are Section 8 company, and we came into existence 2009-10. And the idea, the objective of setting up NSDC was to, provide support to skill development, to create a skilling ecosystem, and to facilitate employment and entrepreneurship in the country. To address the huge demand for skilled manpower in the country, and also to bridge the demand-supply gap as it existed. Now, NSDC does various programs and initiatives, and I would like to focus on a few that kind of pertains to today's topic. One which most of you all would have heard of is the Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, which is called PMKVY, which is the flagship scheme of the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, and it is implemented by NSDC. As I mentioned, that we are a PPP, and government through the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship has a 49% stake, and the rest of the 51% is private sector. So since we are part of the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, we have been the implementing entity for Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, and there have been 2 editions of PMKVY thus far. The PMKVY 2.0 was launched in 2016, and it ran up to 2020, and then we had the PMKVY 3.0. Now, the objective of this Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, which essentially is a skill certification scheme that enables youth in India to take up, skill training that is industry relevant and that will help them in securing better livelihoods. The interesting part is that the program also recognizes prior learning. So if you have some skills or you've already been trained or in traditional trades like masonry or plumbing, where you may have learned it traditionally as part of your family, so that is recognized as part of what we call the RPL, recognition of prior learning, where also your skills that you may have learned thus are recognized through a certification. And I will come to some data points later in my presentation on the participation of special categories such as scheduled castes and scheduled tribes in these trainings. The other thing that I would briefly touch upon is the market-led program, as we call it in our parlance, where NSDC supports a student-paid model of training, through private entities, corporates, TVET institutions, by providing loans at reasonable rates for these entities to set up training centers across the country to enable students to be trained in various domains. I think we're about 37 odd sector skill councils have been set up, which facilitate the industry linkages for these programs. So these are the 2 main initiatives, and I will touch upon how we are looking at entrepreneurship. So in the past, NSDC has taken up a few initiatives on promoting entrepreneurship. One is by partnering with government agencies, non-government organizations, for extending benefits of, say, for example, Mudra loans or entrepreneurship support. One of the big initiatives that NSDC had engaged in was a collaboration with the ASSOCHAM, which is a non-government entity that provides extensive handholding support to skilled candidates to set up, entrepreneurship on their own. So whether it is sort of capacity building, technical training, linkages with skill loan facilities, NBFCs. So all of that was being facilitated through. The other thing is that we had engaged in was to help create capacity and strengthening the placement cells of training providers, our training providers, in encouraging entrepreneurship. And I have included a link, given that we have limited time. I've tried to include a link which participants can then later go through to understand our initiatives in entrepreneurships. Can I go to the next slide, where I would like to focus upon a few data points that will sort of help us. So what I've tried to do is just to take out, given that NSDC has been in skill and entrepreneurship training for almost a decade now, I thought I will dig out some data on PMKVY 2 and 3 that I mentioned. And as you would see that, if you look at data, it's about 18% of the candidates of the lot that have been reported. Now, there is a lot of training that's not reported, but what I'm talking about is training that's been reported on the Skill India portal, and it shows that this is the percentage. 18% were trained, and SCST 18 and 20% out of the 20 lakhs that have been reported as trained, and And I have also given where it says MLP, which is what the market-led program that I was talking about, where you see that the participation is rather low. And that's what I mentioned, that these are paid programs, so not necessary. And I would allude to what the previous speaker, Mr. Dangi, mentioned, that there are several social constraints that probably prohibit the category that we are referring to today from participating in these training programs. So when I say paid programs, then either the student himself or herself is paying for the training, or a corporate is paying, or as a part of reskilling and upskilling, or it comes through a CSR fund of an entity. So there is a payment involved, as opposed to a PMKVY, where it's a government subsidized program or government supported program, where the participation is relatively higher. I would also, mention here that, when I say higher, it's obviously not meeting the levels or percentages that one would hope for. And what is it that NSDC is doing to mitigate the same? NSDC is organizing several, of course, I'm talking pre-COVID, job melas, outreach events, in order to increase the participation of these marginalized sections of society, which are disadvantaged in more ways than one. Can I go to the next slide, please? So I've just tried to pick out the leading sectors, what our data tells us, which are the leading sectors for participation of SC/ST candidates that we have seen from our data. So it's largely green jobs, electronics, and apparel are the top three sectors that have been reported to us for SC category, and apparel, agriculture, and electronics for the SC category. So it looks like apparel and electronics seem to be popular sectors that people are participating in. So about 64% of the total ST candidates trained and 70% were placed were in these 10 sectors on the right side of so the top 10 sectors have been listed. And like I said, electronics and apparel are showing up in the top three for both SC and ST category of training. Can I go to the next one, please? Now, in terms of the states, I thought we should also look at some of the states which are showing high participation as far as the SC/SC category is concerned. So for the SC category, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, and Madhya Pradesh happen to be reporting the most number of trained candidates under the SC category. And the analysis is, of course, for the 10 states that are listed. And for ST scheduled tribe category of candidates, again, it's Rajasthan, Assam, and Madhya Pradesh. So Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh, again, showing up as the top two states which have reported the most number of trainings for SC and ST categories. Like I mentioned earlier, that are we looking at the low participation? Yes, we are, and we are trying to address these through various outreach and job mailer kind of activities that I mentioned. I would also like to mention here that there is an affirmative action team that within NSDC that looks particularly at trainings which are STT trainings, short-term trainings as we call them, and recognition of prior learning, because we have seen that a large part of the participation of these disadvantaged groups, of these excluded and marginalized groups, comes under this category of RPL, of STT. So there is an affirmative action group that has tried to work on a number of initiatives with CSR of companies that NSDC works with, NSDC's own small CSR funds that we allocate. So there have been initiatives in the affirmative action section, but it's wonderful to see that ASSOCHAM is embarking on this creation of this center, which I think will have a significant role to play in mentoring of these candidates, and also creating linkages and partnerships with various other entities that are working in the space. So I see that as a positive outcome of this center. That so many congratulations on the setting up this of this center too. Next, please. In conclusion, I just want to say that you know, NSDC, like I mentioned briefly, various initiatives and activities. Capacity building happens to be another area that NSDC is invested in. We have various initiatives going around capacity building, be it for short-term training, be it for trainees, be it for training partners who are registered with us. We call them funded partners who have a loan with us. So we are invested heavily into building the capacity of these entities also. As far as training and skill development in the ecosystem is concerned. And I see that a close collaboration with the ASSOCHAM Center for Information and Mentoring is a high possibility as we go forward. So, you know, like Mr. Dangi said, we are all here. We look forward to collaborating, you know, as much as possible with ASSOCHAM. Happy to be engaged in any way that you seem feasible. Please reach out. And as far as my presentation is concerned, I would stop here in the interest of time. I don't want to take up more time, but thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Shivangi Nair, for your kind words, and we will of course come back to you after the next speakers they complete over, and there may be certain queries from the participant side. So thank you for joining us. Now I would like to invite Ms. Shivangi Misra to come over and please take up your session. Over to you, Ms. Shivangi Misra.
Thank you so much, sir. First of all, I would like to thank you all the guests here to invite us to such an important discussion where we could have a healthy discussion regarding how to take corrective actions and measures to develop the SC/ST entrepreneurs and ensure that whatever policy level decisions are taken and policy interventions are being given are reached out to the last mile and specifically to the SC/ST entrepreneurs, and the benefits are taken is reaching to the last mile. I would like to request to give me a right to share my screen so that I can share you a brief presentation on how National SC/ST Hub is working towards developing those ecosystem and what all interventions we are currently doing in tandem with various industry associations, CPSCs, which are helping us to achieve that 4% procurement mandate. Can we have the right, please? Yeah, thank you so much. I can. Yeah. Let me know if my screen is visible. I hope it's visible.
Yet, I think
it's coming in. Yeah.
Yeah, it's visible now.
All right. So, as you all know, as initially Sir that there are a lot of government initiatives which have been undertaken in past at least 5 to 6 years, which are targeted towards the development of specifically SC/ST entrepreneurs. In line with the same, there's a public procurement policy which has been introduced, where there's a special focus given for procurement from micro and small enterprises. Within from micro and small enterprises, and within that, for 25%, there's a 4% earmark for SC/ST entrepreneurs. Now, this policy had been in operation for a couple of years, but we could see that there was no increment in the procurement processes, in procurement percentages from the SC/ST entrepreneurs. As a result, National SC/ST Hub was launched. So the hub's basic mandate is to ensure to bring in all the required interventions, support and hand-holding support to all these SC/ST entrepreneurs so that we are able to achieve the 4% procurement mandate from the government. The hub was launched in 2016, and since then we have completed our 5 years, and we have come up with new guidelines where we are focusing more towards, you know, the capacity development of the SC/ST entrepreneurs and ensure that all these benefits are reaching at the ground level to all the entrepreneurs. Under the policy, as you are aware, there's this list of 358 items which are reserved for MSE. While there is no specific list for SC/ST MSEs, but however, since the MSEs come within the same list, these are the lists which can be leveraged for the procurement enhancement within the government space. If I move forward, there's a lot of things which the hub is currently doing. There's a multi-system approach which we have adopted, where we are reaching out to the CPSCs. Like there's both forward and backward linkages. We are working with the CPSCs as well to understand what are the challenges which they are facing when it comes to the procurement processes with the SC/ST entrepreneurs. At the same time, we are also working with the SC/ST entrepreneurs on ground to understand their challenges which they face while participating in the procurement processes. If you have a look at the major areas which we are working towards a CPSC outreach, where we have an effective communication with all the CPSCs. We have over 145 dedicated nodal officers which are working only for SC/ST procurement and enhancement facilitation. All these CPSCs are in close tandem, and we have regular meetings with them to understand how the hub can bridge the gaps. Like, for example, initially when we started, there was a huge challenge of database with the CPSCs. They were not able to understand who are the right vendors to reach out to for their procurement processes. These gaps were identified and addressed through various level of interventions, one being making the database available, second being the vendor development program. So initially there was this vendor development program which were generic for all, which was inclusive for all, where general MSCs also used to participate. But understanding that there was a special need for the SC/ST entrepreneurs to understand the procurement processes, we came up with special vendor development program which are exclusively only for SC/ST entrepreneurs. So it's not inclusive, it's exclusively for SC/ST entrepreneurs. The CPSCs identify the list of goods and services which they feel can be achieved from the SC/ST entrepreneurs, and then they are hand-holded and told in detail of how these products are, what requirements are there in those products, what specifications do they require, and the right vendors are matched to the CPSCs. The third one, which we are very actively working towards, is, as Ms. Naya also said, the capacity building and skilling part. That is one of the major tracks which we have undertaken under Hub. We are continuously working towards skilling of SC/ST entrepreneurs, both existing as well as aspiring. As of today, I can proudly say that we have trained over 26,000 SC/ST candidates under our Hub initiative. And in the recent development which we have had, we have also brought in NSQF compliant courses where more skill related and job oriented courses can be taken up, and which eventually helps them to apply, achieve the self-employment self-employment and entrepreneurship centric programs. Moving ahead, since all of these things were already there, we have enhanced our presence across the country. We have over 15 national SC/ST hub offices who are providing on-ground support to all these entrepreneurs. Now, these supports are not limited to CPSC outreach and vendor development. We are assisting them in e-tendering processes, bank loan facilitation, DPR preparation, whatever the requirements they reach out to us, we are providing those handholding support. We are also undertaking a lot of awareness and outreach program, where we have partnered with various state agencies. Like, we have over 26 state agencies who are also assisting us in ensuring that all the required information dissemination things which we have, all the interventions which we have are reaching to the right beneficiaries. So apart from that, national, state level, all kind of medias are being leveraged to enhance the reach of the scheme. And today, I would also like to take this opportunity and this platform and request all the industry associations and all our partners to ensure that the scheme outreach is to be enhanced. While the things are there in place, maybe I feel actively working with the SC/ST MSCs, I feel there's a lot of gap of information asymmetry. They do not know what all policies are existing, what all handholding supports are existing from the government and the industry, and as a result, the outcome is not as expected as we may see. Moving ahead, technology platforms are also there. We have a full-fledged website where all the information related to SCST entrepreneur related to Hub is present there. We have certain interventions also. I'll just move on to show you. Before that, I would like to point out that initially when we started, the procurement from SCST entrepreneurs was merely 0.05%. I'm not saying that we have achieved a lot in past 5 years. It is only 0.74%, but it's a more than 10-fold increase in the procurement process. Now, we also need to understand that the volumes are high, right? And for us to achieve those 4% mandate, there has to be a in sync and a very collaborative approach from both from the CPSCs, from the associations, as well as the SCST entrepreneurs, so that we ensure that these procurement percentages are increasing slowly, steadily, but are increasing. I would also like to point out how the number of SCST MSCs who have been participating in the procurement processes has increased over the year. If you look at the this table below, since 2017-18 itself, there were 2,255 MSCs who participated in 17-18, and currently over 5,000, almost 6,000. This is as on February. I'm sure that the numbers will update soon, but over 6,000 MSCs are participating regularly. So the active bidder base of SCST MSCs is also increasing, and we are actively working with those database, that set of active bidders, to ensure that their capacity augmentation is done and they are able to move on to the next stage, and meanwhile help to the younger ones and the aspiring ones to achieve and get into the entrepreneurship role. Moving ahead, as I mentioned, that there are various interventions which have already been charted out under National SCST Hub for SCST entrepreneurs. Now, these are all of these interventions are need-based. So we understood what requirements they had, what are challenges they have been facing, and basis that these interventions have been charted out. Starting from capacity building, as I said, there's both residential and non-residential courses which we are undertaking to upskill them to build their capacity. We have also come up with we have some 6 sub-schemes where we provide financial assistance to the SCST entrepreneurs in form of reimbursement. For example, there's a scheme for a bank loan processing charge reimbursement scheme, which allows them to take a reimbursement of up to 80% of the bank loan processing charges with an upper limit of 1 lakh to ease out the financial burden of these SCST entrepreneurs. As ma'am rightly pointed out, where the funding courses are there, you might see then an uptake of courses from the SCST entrepreneurs. However, when it's paid, the participation from SCST entrepreneurs is a little less. So addressing that challenge, we have come up with various schemes which are providing financial assistance to the SCST entrepreneurs so that they are able to easily go ahead and achieve do the required steps and eventually participate in a better way in the public procurement. I'll just move on to the next slide and I'll give you a detail of all the schemes and the benefits which are available under them. We'll start with special credit link capacity capital subsidy scheme. It's a major flagship scheme of our ministry where we capital subsidy scheme of Ministry of MSME, which is no more active. This is a special scheme which is only active under National SCST Hub, where we are providing 25% of subsidy for SCST MSCs for a loan of 1 CR for buying any new plant and machinery or equipment. Okay, there's previously for capital CLCSS scheme, there were certain sector where these subsidies were provided. We have kept it open for all the sectors. For SCST MSCs, there's no sector restriction for SCST MSCs. More than that, we have also introduced service sector in the scheme. Initially, the scheme was only focused toward manufacturing sector, but looking at the number of MSCs and their concentration in service sector, we have opened this scheme for service sector as well. Currently, all the we have PLIs who are, implementing all these, who are taking the application under the schemes. I have just mentioned all the nodal agencies who are part of the scheme. SIDBI is one of them. They are implementing with us. NABARD is there, SBI is there, Canara Bank is there, Bank of Baroda is there, Punjab National Bank is there, Bank of India, India Bank and Union Bank. They are our main nodal agencies who are implementing these schemes with us. The entrepreneurs can reach out to any of these banks and say that we want to avail this subsidy for the new plant and machinery which we have procured. Apart from that, in addition to all these nodal banks, other nationalized banks are also eligible to implement our scheme, and they can very well go there and reach out and fill the application forms and avail the subsidy under whatever the new loan which they have availed for plant and machinery. Moving ahead, reimbursement for bank loan processing fees. As I have mentioned, lastly, we are reimbursing the charges which a person incurs while going for a bank loan. There's an 50% financial, 80% financial assistance given up to a upper limit of 1 lakh. All of these applications can be easily filled on our website or through the common service centers. We have also tied up with CSCs, which are present all across the country in every small cities, every district, everywhere they are present. So you can reach out to our CSC centers also. They will help you to fill the application forms and avail this, the benefit under the scheme. Next is reimbursement for bank charges for performance guarantee, PGB, which is a very critical thing when you go for any of the procurement processes. There's a certain charge attached to it. We also reimburse those charges where we provide financial assistance of up to 80% again. And the application process is the same. You can either reach out to our website or to the Common Service Center for application processes. The next is testing fees. Since in the past few years, talking to the CPSCs, we have understood that there has been a major challenge with the quality of the products from SCST entrepreneurs. Keeping that in mind, we have come up with this intervention where we are providing financial assistance to the SCST entrepreneurs to get their products tested, ensure that the quality is met, so that they not only are able to supply to the CPSCs, but they are also able to export with the required testing and quality specification for the export products. So we there also we provide up to 80% of reimbursement with an upper limit of 1 lakh in one financial year. And applications, all the NABL credited BIS credited labs are eligible under this. You can go and avail any of the testing facilities, even licensing facilities, and avail these reimbursement. What we are trying to do is we are trying to, while it's not in process as of now, it's not operational, but what we are trying to do is we are trying to give you an upfront subsidy with these laboratories, so that the application process wala part gets cuts down, and the SCST MSCs are able to get the benefit then and there. So we are in process of tying up. Once we are up with it, we will of course give you the required information on our website, and you're most welcome to check out whatever new interventions are being proposed for this financial year. Moving ahead, again, in continuation to what previously we have had, we also have a reimbursement and membership subscription or entry fee reimbursement for EPCs, specifically Export Promotion Council, assist to ensure that we are able to assist the SCST MSCs who want to export overseas. They can export and they can come get the membership and get the reimbursement for the membership and subscription fees for any of the EPCs in the country. Capacity building, one which we implement with our 47 almost 47 institutes which we have tied up with. Apart from that, there is one more course which is specifically from top 5 NIRF rated management institutes. This is a course where we provide this institutes like IITs, IIMs are there. The SCST entrepreneurs or any of their wards can go and get a training, a short-term training course, get the required, choose the course which they want to get the training for, get the training, and come to us for financial assistance of up to 90%. So if there's a fees of there's a course of 50,000, up to 90% of the fees can be reimbursed for any of the SCST entrepreneurs and their wards. Applications can again be availed through our website or common service centers. In the recent few years, which we have understood is that there are portals, there are e-marketplaces where there's certain membership charges, for example, GEM.
Excuse me, Ms. Shivangi, please be considerate of the time, maybe for another 1 or 2 minutes.
I'm just almost finished. Yeah. Inconsistent to what we have been receiving as a feedback, there's a specific, there are portals, e-government portals like GEM, eKhadi, Trifid, which have membership fees to them. We are also reimbursing for them up to 80%. Apart from that, GEM had a caution money requirement for all the SC/ST entrepreneurs as well as MSc entrepreneurs. So we had taken up this requirement with the GEM officials, and I feel good to announce that the caution money has been completely waived off for women and SC/ST entrepreneurs. So there's no more caution money required for SC/ST entrepreneurs to bid for through GEM. That is one more very progressive step from GEM to ensure that they are more inclusive in the procurement processes. In the very start, some pointed out that there's a need to understand various schemes like single point registration scheme, which NSIC is implementing. I guess all the MSCs should be having this, should be registered under this scheme, because if you want to participate in the procurement processes, you have to be registered with a single SPRS scheme. Under the scheme, we are providing, there's an exemption for the tenders available. Free of cost tenders are available for all the MSCs, SC/ST MSCs who are registered under this scheme. There's an exemption from paying EMD money while in the procurement. So it's a huge amount. And if you're registered under SPRS scheme, you do not have to pay EMD money as well. So all of these benefits are there. For this registration, we are providing 100% subsidy for SC/ST entrepreneurs. You do not have to pay. Membership is completely free from under Hub, and you're most welcome to please come and do the registration process through our website. Marketing assistance scheme is also there, where we provide international exhibitions and trade and exhibitions, and B2B meets are there. Currently, it's all virtual, but however, I'm sure with the COVID-19 going back and no more pandemics coming back, we will be for sure able to come back into physical mode, and we'll be more than happy to assist all the visits, international or national, to the SC/ST entrepreneurs to ensure that they are getting the required market for their products and are able to get the exposure they require. Capacity building program, I've already briefed you. These are the details which are currently doing. And moving ahead, since we do not have much time, we have 15 NSHO's offices, and these are the facilitations which are being provided under all of these offices. The locations are mentioned here. We have across 15 locations. We provide tender facilitation, participation, bank loan facilitation, tendering processes, SVDPs, all the awareness programs, vendor registration with CPSCs, and other handholding support for whatever you require, for GST registration to GEM to Udyam, everything, end-to-end handholding support is being provided. I just want to take this opportunity to request all the associations to please redirect your SC/ST MSCs who are associated with you towards SC/ST Hub, so that they are able to avail all the benefits which are currently available under Government of India scheme. That is all from my side. Thank you so much, Parashar sir, for giving me the opportunity to brief the things which we are doing and the development works which we are doing. Yeah, sure, sir.
Welcome to all participants, and I am really thankful to ASSOCHAM that they have given this opportunity to us. And I hope so. Shivangi ma'am has very nicely explained all the activities. The major purpose of this hub is to enhance all around support to the MSMEs, especially ST/ST MSMEs, which were at one time they were thought to be deprived of such kind of things which other large industries or other well-developed MSMEs were having. So we are providing all kind of a support, and we are even boosting them time to time that to for the MSME, especially SC/ST, they can have the support from the CBSE. What kind of a product requirement is there? What kind of a product and what quality should be there, so they can be taken as a best supplier in their CBSE. And this is I'm proud to say one more thing. I've come across recently in last 3-4 months, many SC/ST individuals, they have come to us. They said, we were never thought that we would be able to participate in NALCO or FCI like big departments. With getting the support, especially our tender marketing workshops and vendor development with these big purchasers, so that has helped. And I also request one more thing, that all of us, all organizations, all SC/ST organizations, all other departments, they are really doing a good job. There's no doubt. But if we disseminate our information, like what information we are passing on to you and what information we have received from you, if we give in a time to time to MSMEs, as this SC/ST MSMEs, so they will definitely complete our motto, not of 4%, maybe more. So we are just thinking that we will aim only at 4% in future, not that. If we do and we give a more handholding support and boost them, they will definitely cross this. And this is what I wanted from you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Shivangi and Mr. Deepak Joshi ji, DGM NSIC, for your lightning detailed presentation and sharing thoughts on around subject. And we will be definitely coming back to you after next two speakers are there. So please stay back with us. And now let me move on to the next speaker, sir. Mr. V. Satya Venkat Rao. First of all, I apologize for the time that delayed in this session, waiting for you. Look forward for your enlightening special address, Mr. V. Satya Venkat Rao, Deputy Managing Director, Small Industry Development Bank of India. Over to you, sir, because we have gone through with experience sharing of the DKI. Of course, the much required for this particular sector is the skill development. That's where we had a representation from NSDC, and of course the NSIC, that they have given the comprehensive details about this sector. And this is ultimately the SIDBI which is being looked after by these stakeholders, because until and unless the financial resources are there with these stakeholders, whatever the information being shared with them or whatever the skill is being developed, that's of no use until the financial resources are there, shared with the or they are assisted with the SC/ST category enterprises. So over to you, and I welcome you, V. Satya Venkat Rao, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Santosh Ji. Good afternoon to the distinguished panelists and to all the participants of this program. In fact, first of all, I should compliment ASSOCHAM for bringing out this kind of a program at a much needed time when there is a lot of talk which is happening with regard to the MSMEs. The Government of India has brought out so many kinds of support programs for MSMEs, especially in the last 2 years, considering the kind of impact which we had through the unfortunate COVID crisis. While I would not like to go into the specific steps taken by the Government of India and SIDBI for assisting the MSMEs in the times of crisis of pandemic, but what I would like to certainly do is to make a small kind of a reference to what actually we mean by affirmative action, because we had discussed earlier that affirmative action has been taken in different contexts by different agencies. But at the end of the day, what we mean here is affirmative action refers to a creation, strengthening, and affording opportunities to the kind of segment that are being targeted in the society. With this kind of a background, what I would like to do is to just run out some of the programs which SIDBI has been doing in its role as a financial institution. Of course, first of all, I would again thank all the other participants who have really and beautifully rolled out various initiatives that are going on currently, and by which there is a lot of encouragement to the MSMEs and to the SC/ST entrepreneurs who are in the business. While lot has been done, and as the statistics have revealed that there has been increase in the procurement, etc., but still there is a lot more that needs to be done. And how this is to be done is the thought process which all the policymakers, stakeholders, and other players associated in this entire formation needs to come together. First of all, as you know, SIDBI is primarily seen as a financing institution, and many people during these conferences refer to SIDBI for financial resources because we are into providing financial support in the form of debt, equity, and other kinds of financial instruments that are necessary for the growth and sustenance of the business. But more than the financing role, SIDBI also has played a catalyst role in actually promoting the trade and industry through MSME interventions at various levels. Of course, the programs which SIDBI has been doing on behalf of the various ministries, including MSME and the DFS, have been rolled out in the earlier presentations by the speakers. I am thankful to them. What is the important thing that I would like to mention is the kind of activities by which just it is not the financial support, but it is through market interventions, either for their produce, the linkages which we have, the assistance in the formation of projects, DPRs, etc., hand-holding agencies, credit counselors. There are so many things that SIDBI has been playing its part in the last many years. While all this is definitely a kind of measure as to what has been achieved in the past, but when we talk of future, we need to be sure that the intended group and the SC/ST entrepreneurs get the maximum mileage out of these programs. How do we get these mileage? Is it enough that certain webinars and certain advertisements in the newspapers, etc., are going to be sufficient, or is that something needs to be done more? Yes, the answer will definitely be that something much more needs to be done. And here the role of ASSOCHAM and many other industry associations needs to be complemented, because it is because of their interventions there is a lot of traction which is coming in the form of applications for setting up of various industries and various enterprises. The definitions which have been revised for the MSMEs last year is also a significant one, because it is helping more people to come into the mainstream and help. Because as you all know, once an MSME is set up, they provide employment to various people in the country, and the employment rates which the MSME segment is providing is all well documented. While we can speak about the employment opportunities and other benefits that are arising out of the setting up of industries, we also need to be careful about the problems that these units face. Especially, I would like to refer to the problems of their payments. What has happened? Because after their produce is sold, they have to wait indefinitely for the payments. And if the payments are not coming in time, again, it is a kind of a cyclical problem by which their production can be hit, and ultimately their businesses can be very adversely impacted. So as a result of this, you must have known that the TREDS platform has been created with the help and the approval of the Reserve Bank of India, and these kind of interventions are really facilitating better trade opportunities for the MSMEs. These measures are intended to see that the produce which they have sold is paid in time. Ultimately, it is a payment which is going to sustain them in the business. And then before I conclude, I would also like to make a mention of technology, because when we are talking of digital interventions, etc., now the entire world is running through digital methods, right from whatever you call in just application of a loan to all the payments, etc. We have seen the UPI payments and other kinds of technological initiatives which have happened over the last many years. Now this technology is to be disseminated to the various intending and budding entrepreneurs who needs to be given confidence that the technology is going to support them and technology will help them in terms of the crisis, and technology will also solve their problems. If these kind of measures are really put in place and we take the awareness programs to a new height by disseminating, in fact, the presentations made by both the speakers are so exhaustive that any entrepreneur who would like to set up these kind of industries would be enthused by the kind of programs and by the kind of benefits that are available. Due to paucity of time, I am not able to make a presentation of various schemes that SIDBI has, but I can definitely say that the information is all available on SIDBI's website, and we are available at the length and breadth of the country, and any branch where any entrepreneur can walk into will be provided the kind of assistance and support in relation to SIDBI's activities. With these words, I would like to thank ASSOCHAM for inviting me and asking me to deliver this address. Extremely thankful to ASSOCHAM and the office bearers. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your kind lightning words to the budding entrepreneurs and to me personally, and for your time as well for this particular session. We would like to just seek your, permission to, showcase the objective of this center of ASSOCHAM's, information and mentoring cell that we are going to, start with. So may I have your, consent for that, please?
Please go ahead, please.
Yeah. Thank you so much. My team, Jatin, Vikas, please showcase the slides. So, with your permission, sir, with the launching of this ASSOCHAM Center of Information and Mentoring for SC/ST entrepreneurs, we seek to, facilitate the budding entrepreneurs, those who can be assisted with the, help of the information and how the ASSOCHAM can help them mentoring in this particular space. So Vikas, please showcase the next slide. Mr. Vikas. Next, please. Next. Yeah, so we would like to just share, we could find out that what are the gaps and where the role of ASSOCHAM can be of some significance to the, both the demand side as well as supply side. So we came out with these few things as an objective of the center can really help and contribute to the stakeholders. To promote the affirmative action and social inclusion programs and policies in India for increasing employment opportunities, education, skill development, and entrepreneurship. And we think that we best fit in this space as well. Reason being that our countrywide stakeholders from the diverse segment of the corporate and industry. We think that since we have 80 plus national councils and they are several of them, they are the sector focused, sector specific, wherein are existing mentors, existing industrialists, and their corporate can really play as mentor to the budding entrepreneurs. And therefore, the information is very crucial, and therefore the disseminating authentic information pertaining to the business, economy, schemes of government, banking, taxation, finance, export, import, digital marketing, promotion, patent, trademark, copyright registrations, because these are very much essential for all the budding enterprises from the SC/ST community by large. And therefore, we seek to promote and implement and conduct studies for innovation in the skill development program for ST and SC entrepreneurial aspirants. To increase the employability of SC/ST job seekers through industry internship program. Of course, this can really help them once they undergo the training programs from the maybe NSDC or otherwise from some corporate or the private institutions, wherever the employability can really be increased through the internship program in the industries. And here ASSOCHAM can really play the role. And here we seek to provide the entry-level training and development to SC/ST entrepreneurs for a startup of their businesses, and definitely to disseminate information about various government grants, benefits available to SC/ST entrepreneurs from time to time. This is actually where is there a gap. Since all such informations are available on the screen of all the respective entities, bodies, and the players, those who are coming up with a lot of information every time, but there always remains a gap where the needy parties, needy stakeholders, they do not have access where to find what information. Therefore, we think that from time to time, once we get the interest of the parties, we can really disseminate this information timely, in a timely manner, where they can get advantage of this particular center. Here we play the role and we go for it. So next slide, please, because yes, here to provide mentoring and training to SC/ST entrepreneurs for risk management, because many startup ventures, they come in place, and then they struggle for some or other risks, because even the risk management is such a subject which, of course, not a child's play, but there are the large corporates as well as which they do not mitigate the risk on timely manner. Therefore, we thought to provide the risk management strategies and the frameworks how they can deal with the with this particular problem, and our experts can extend them support. And here we seek to assist in mitigating various issues pertaining to procurement policy, of course, how they can take help from our experts, of course, by way of information. And here we see to provide the guidance and mentoring for startup funding, easing access to capital and finance and alternate sources of finance, to assist in adoption of the online and digital platform payment for faster delivery of services. We seek to provide advisory solutions under various schemes such as SPRS, MAS, PCRS, and others for SC/ST entrepreneurs. And we think that is spreading awareness among them through advocacy, outreach programs, seminars, conferences, that will definitely be a value addition. What the existing all the stakeholders, they have been fantastically extending to them. Now, while working with the government and various national and international agencies engaged in affirmative action for research and development, surveys, advancing the roadmap for future inclusion of SC/ST entrepreneurs, as well as to provide the legal aid, because in many such cases, the players may be facing some issues or the problems which are legally restricting them to continue with their game, with their businesses particularly. Therefore, let's say, for example, we at ASSOCHAM have ASSOCHAM International Council for Alternate Dispute Resolution. So in case if they face any dispute, our council from AICDR can really help them to mitigate such risks and come out with the problem. With these objectives, we seek to add on more such objectives wherever we find the gap and the needy parties, they are looking forward towards ASSOCHAM. I could see some of the questions they are seeking that please share the presentation. So I would request to the speakers from NSIC and SDC to share these PPTs, because these some of what someone has mentioned that ASSOCHAM may not be helpful since we are launching this center. So we try to provide the information which is available with us with respect to any particular institution or body which is making this information available to us. So we will definitely reach out and share with all PPTs with all the participants over here, as well as we will upload these PPTs on the website of ASSOCHAM. So don't worry. This may be your idea that ASSOCHAM may not be helpful, but we will definitely extend the help that you are looking forward. There will be no restriction of the information on that. So now I would like to take opportunity of inviting our mentor to this center, who himself comes from the as a background with Dalit entrepreneur, Mr. Gurdeep Singh. He is the ASSOCHAM Task Force Chair for Social Inclusion and Affirmative Action, and he is the Managing Director of Simran Holidays Private Limited. To please take over the session and conclude with your thoughts and ideas, and as well as your experience that you are getting through the participants across the country, particularly from SC/ST community. Thank you, and I welcome and invite you, Mr. Gurdeep Singh.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Now I am
We can hear
audible.
you. Yes, sir. We can hear you now.
Can
Please, sir.
you make it? Yeah. मैं सभी का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद करता हूं इस प्रोग्राम में अटेंड करने के लिए, और हमारा ये बहुत शॉर्ट नोटिस था क्योंकि कोविड के टाइम में ये हमने देखा कि जो दलित व्यापारी हैं, एंटरप्रेनर्स हैं, और जो व्यापार करना चाहते हैं, गवर्नमेंट्स की स्कीम तो बहुत सारी हैं, आप सबने अपनी स्कीम्स बताई और उसका बहुत ही एग्जॉस्टिव वे में आपने बताया जो लिमिटेड टाइम था, पर वो सरकार की पॉलिसी पब्लिक और गांव तक पेनिट्रेट नहीं हो पाई, और उससे जो है दलित एंटरप्रेनर या तो खराब हो गया या उसका इतना बड़ा नुकसान हो गया, वो घर बैठ गया। जो उससे सीखने वाला नया एंटरप्रेनर था, जो इंस्पायरिंग था, उसमें व्यापार करने की जो शक्ति थी वो और कम हो गई। इसी बात को मद्देनजर रखते हुए हमने ये इंफॉर्मेशन सेंटर चालू किया और दलितों को हाथ पकड़ के खींच के और उस सरकारों की स्कीम के साथ जोड़ने का ये प्रयास है। हम सभी गवर्नमेंट्स के वेरियस बॉडीज की जो दलितों के लिए काम कर रही हैं, उसमें चाहे SC/ST हब है, NHDC है, आपका ये सिडबी बैंक है, और सारे चैम्बर्स हैं, हम उनका धन्यवाद करते हैं कि आपने हमारा मॉरल सपोर्ट बढ़ाया इस प्रोग्राम को अटेंड करते हुए। मैं अपने दलितों का सबसे बड़ा चैम्बर है डिक्की, उनके रिप्रेजेंटेटिव मिस्टर डांगी जी बैठे हैं, मेरे बहुत अच्छे मित्र हैं। उनका हरदम हमें सहयोग मिला है दलितों को प्रमोट करने में। उन्हें बड़े विस्तार रूप से कहा कि भाई दलितों का कैसे विकास हो सकता है। सारी स्कीम्स के बाद भी वो इंटरप्रेनर तक बेनिफिट जा ही नहीं रहा। बहुत सारे इश्यूज है कि उनको टेंडर नहीं करना आता, उनको फाइनेंस का एक्सेस नहीं है, फाइनेंस का, बैंक तक पहुंच जाते हैं तो बैंक स्कीम्स को कैसे ऑफिसर से बात करनी है, उनको बात तक करनी नहीं आती ऑफिसर से कैसे लोन लेना है। उनको उस कागजों की नॉलेज ही नहीं है जो डॉक्यूमेंटेशन करनी है। मतलब इसमें हैंड होल्डिंग की बहुत जरूरत है। बहुत सारी स्कीम से हमने डिस्कशन कर लिया। मैं एक छोटी छोटी 2-3 बातें कहना चाहता हूं। सबसे बड़ा इशू जो है वो 4% प्रिक्योरमेंट पॉलिसी का है। बहुत अच्छा हम नहीं कर पाए अभी तक मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर में। मेरा एक सजेशन है जो मैं डिसीजन मेकर्स को भी दे चुका हूं कि भाई 4% को सेम हम सर्विस सेक्टर में भी लेके आए। उसका कारण ये है, क्यों सर्विस सेक्टर में, क्योंकि आपके मैन्युफैक्चर में आइटम डिफाइन कर दिए कि इन आइटम्स में दलितों से हम प्रिक्योरमेंट करेंगे। वो जो आइटम्स है वो तो हम लोग बनाते ही नहीं है कहीं तो, और बनाते हैं तो मेरे पास फैक्ट्री भी नहीं है। अब मैं जो क्यों कहता हूं सर्विस सेक्टर में हमें प्रमोट करने की जरूरत है और 4% उसमें लागू करने की है। एक दलित इंजीनियर बना, ठीक है, वो इंजीनियर बड़ी मुश्किल से पढ़ लिख के बना। अपने पिताजी या तो नौकरी करते थे या फिर किसान थे या छोटा मोटा काम करते थे। इंजीनियर तो बन गया, अब नौकरी भी नहीं मिल रही, तो वो क्या है, कुर्सी मेज खोल लेगा, कुर्सी मेज का एक दफ्तर बना लेगा, एक टेलीफोन लगा लेगा, और यदि उसको CPWD पैनल कर ले, CPWD में वो स्कीम्स तो हैं, ऐसे वेरियस कंस्ट्रक्शन कंपनी, देश की जितनी भी कंस्ट्रक्शन कंपनीज है या देश की इंडियन ऑयल है, ऑयल्स कंपनीज है, उन इंजीनियर्स को एक प्रमोट करे कि एज ए एंटरप्रेनर। उससे क्या है कि उसका एक एंटरप्रेनर डेवलपमेंट होता है। इसीलिए मैं इस बात को कहता हूं कि 4% प्रिक्योरमेंट जो है सर्विस सेक्टर में आनी बहुत जरूरी है। यदि जब तक वो सर्विस सेक्टर में नहीं आएगी, आप इंटरप्रेनर्स तैयार ही नहीं कर पाओगे दलित के। उसका कारण बहुत बड़ा ये है कि आज की तारीख में दलित CA खाली है, एडवोकेट खाली है, इंजीनियर्स खाली है। एक बच्चा मान लो कस्टम क्लियरिंग का काम सीख गया है, या कुरियर का काम सीख गया किसी कंपनी में, उसको स्किल आ गई है, वो अपना दफ्तर खोलना चाहता तो खोल नहीं पाता, क्योंकि गवर्नमेंट की ऐसी कोई स्कीम नहीं है जो सर्विसेज सेक्टर में इंप्लीमेंट है कि जैसे हमने मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर। ये एक बड़ा मसला है कि हमें सर्विस सेक्टर्स को बड़ा उसका विकास करना है। यदि हम सर्विस सेक्टर का विकास कर पाए तो दलितों की संख्या बिजनेस में, आपको नौकरी देने की बहुत ज्यादा जरूरत नहीं है, अब दलित बिजनेस में आने के लिए तैयार है, पर वो जो यंग जनरेशन है, यंग बच्चे पढ़ गए हैं, उनको बिजनेस में लाने के लिए की सर्विस सेक्टर है जिसको हम ज्यादा से ज्यादा प्रमोट करें। मैं सर्विस सेक्टर्स के ऐसे ऐसे आपको बता सकता हूं, सैनिटाइजेशन सर्विसेज है, हाउसकीपिंग है, फैसिलिटी मैनेजमेंट है, ट्रैवल एंड टूर है। अब मान लो ट्रैवल एंड टूर है, हम 52 लोरी के साथ काम करते हैं, भारत सरकार 52 लोरी से सब कुछ लेती है, आप 52 लोरी के साथ ही दलितों को लगा दीजिए। इस बात को मैं 3C कहता हूं। कैसे? कोलैबोरेशन, ठीक है, कंसोर्टियम एंड कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग। यदि हम इन दो चीजों को बड़ा कर लें कि एक बड़ी कंपनी है, 52 लोरी सरकार की कंपनी है, उसके साथ दलितों की कंपनियों को जोड़ दिया जाए कि भाई तू होटल की बुकिंग कर, तू एयरलाइन का काम कर, तू इसका कर, तो उनका कोलैबोरेशन हो गया किसके साथ? 52 लोरी के साथ, और उसकी दलित की कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग हो गई। ये प्रैक्टिकल नीड्स हैं जो करने की जरूरत है। हमें बड़ी कंपनियों के साथ इनका कोलैबोरेशन कराने की जरूरत है, इनका कंसोर्टियम बनाने की जरूरत है। अब मान लो टाटा बहुत सारी चीजें बनाते हैं, टाटा बहुत सारी चीजों में सर्विसेज में भी है, उसमें भी है। L&T है, मैं एग्जांपल देता हूं, L&T बहुत सारा काम मैन पावर रिक्रूटमेंट करती है, देश भर से वो उनको मैन पावर मैशन कारपेंटर चाहिए। कोई कंपनी दलितों की हो जो L&T के साथ टाई अप कर ले कि भाई मैन पावर में सप्लाई करूंगी, आइदर वो इंजीनियर्स को तो सब कुछ आता है, सिविल इंजीनियर्स को वो मैन पावर सप्लायर बन सकता है, आप उन सेक्टर्स को विकास तो करें। NBCC है, NBCC को ठेकेदार चाहिए होते हैं, ठेकेदार में आप ये पॉइंट ये जोड़ दो ना कि भाई NBCC को सर्विस सेक्टर का ठेकेदार भी चाहिए जो सर्विस सेक्टर में काम करता हो, जो मैन पावर लेके आए। सिमिलरली उसकी फैसिलिटी मैनेजमेंट, NBCC की जितनी सारी बिल्डिंग्स है, सिक्योरिटी सर्विसेज, ऐसे ही चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट्स हमारे हैं, फाइनेंस सर्विसेज हैं, लीगल सर्विसेज, हमारे वकील खाली घूम रहे हैं। पूछो कैसे? वकील तो बन गए पर कोर्ट में काम ही नहीं मिलता। कौन देगा उनको केसेस? क्योंकि वो सोचते हो तो नालायक है, दलित है, उसको पढ़ना ही नहीं आएगा, पता नहीं नकल मार के पास तो नहीं हुआ हुआ। बैंक्स हैं, बैंक्स पैनल्स पे रखते हैं दलितों को। यदि बैंक्स के पैनल्स पे एडवोकेट रख लिया जाए, CA रख लिया जाए, फाइनेंशियल एडवाइजर रख लिया जाए, हमारे जो बच्चे सॉफ्टवेयर से आए हैं, उन सॉफ्टवेयर की कंपनीज, बैंकों को, हर सरकार के डिपार्टमेंट को जरूरत है। तो मेरे कंसल्टेंट तो हैं पर उनको कोई प्रमोट नहीं करता क्योंकि सर्विस सेक्टर में रिजर्वेशन ही नहीं है। अब मुझे सर्विस सेक्टर्स को में रिजर्वेशन चाहिए। मेरा एक बहुत बड़ा कहना है कि मुझे सर्विस सेक्टर में रिजर्वेशन चाहिए। हमारे वकील, मैंने सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियर्स बता दिए, मेडिकल सप्लायर्स हैं, मेडिकल टूरिज्म है, ट्रांसपोर्ट एंड लॉजिस्टिक सर्विस है, ऑडियो विजुअल्स हैं, एजुकेशन सर्विसेज हैं। मैं सेक्टर वाइज भी बोलता हूं। NSDC की हमारी नायर जी ने बहुत विस्तार से, बहुत अच्छी तरीके से हमारे बच्चों के बारे में बताया कि हम उनको स्किल ट्रेनिंग देते हैं और देते हैं। हमारे बच्चे आए हैं स्किल से आगे, मैडम ट्रेनिंग तो मिल गई। अब मेरा एक सवाल यह है कि आपके किसी भी टेंडर में किसी भी दलित कंपनी को आपने टेंडर दिया? नहीं दिया। क्या मेरे टीचर्स जो हैं वो बहुत अच्छे ट्रेनर भी तो हैं? मेरे जितने टीचर्स हैं बहुत अच्छे ट्रेनर हैं। मेरा टीचर B.Ed करके बैठा हुआ है, या मेरा टीचर, मेरा बच्चा इंजीनियरिंग करके बैठा हुआ है मैकेनिकल में, वो ट्रेनिंग दे सकता है ना मैकेनिकल की। मां, आप उनके लिए टेंडर्स बनाइए ना छोटे छोटे। लॉजिस्टिक में वो ट्रेनिंग दे सकता है। आपका CA में आज की तारीख में GST की बहुत सारी जरूरत है, GST के बच्चे चाहिए। हमारे जितने भी CA निकले, ये CA हैं, फाइनेंशियल सर्विस के लोग हैं, ये कितनी अच्छी ट्रेनिंग दे सकते हैं जीएसटी के बच्चों को जो जीएसटी सीखना चाहते हैं, जीएसटी की ट्रेनिंग। तो आपने कभी टेंडर की तरफ नहीं सोचा कि दलित एंटरप्रेन्योर्स किस तरह टेंडरिंग में आए? आपके कितने सारे प्रोग्राम्स हैं, पीएम के वाइस के 2-3 स्कीम्स हैं, आपकी बहुत सारी स्कीम्स है, जो इंटरनेशनल ट्रेनिंग सेंटर्स हैं, मैं उसका मेंबर भी हूं। कोई भी दलित नहीं है, एक भी दलित कंपनी नहीं होगी, कभी आपने टेंडर में भी नहीं निकाला होगा। वो एंकरेज कैसे होंगे? वो रीच आउट ही नहीं उन तक। तो मेरी आप लोगों से एक रिक्वेस्ट है एनएसडीसी से कि आप कुछ टेंडर्स ऐसे बनाइए जो दलित ट्रेनर्स बने, ट्रेनिंग सेंटर्स दलितों के आए। उससे क्या है, इसका विकास कैसे है मैं बताता हूं। मैं ऐसे नहीं कह रहा, जो गांव में हमारे बच्चे इंजीनियर्स हैं, जो गांव में ट्रेनिंग सेंटर्स बनेंगे, दलितों की एफिलिएशन दलितों के साथ ज्यादा है। वो जब उसकी एफिलिएशन उसको पता चलेगा मेरे दलित का सेंटर है, शायद वो पढ़ने भी जाएगा, सीखने भी जाएगा, और उसके मन में हमदर्दी होगी कि मैं इसको पढ़ाऊं, इसको 2 घंटे फालतू पढ़ाऊं, कि मेरे 2 घंटे का कोर्स नहीं, मैं इसको 1 घंटा फालतू पढ़ाऊं। तो एक तो उसमें क्या हुआ, दलित सेंटर्स डेवलप हुए, क्योंकि आप उसको टेंडरिंग प्रोसेस से उसको अंदर लेके आए, उसकी कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग हो गई। दूसरा, दलित बच्चों का एक फेथ बना कि मैं इसकी अपने दलित सेंटर में पढ़ लूंगा। आप मान लो कोई दलित बच्चा है और वो आपको लगता है कि नहीं ये नहीं सेंटर चला सकता, आप उसका किसी के साथ कोलैबोरेशन करा दो, बड़ी कंपनी के साथ, ट्रेनिंग के साथ। आप टेंडर्स में आप और टेंडर्स में निकालते हैं ना मैडम, मैं तो सारे आपके टेंडर्स पढ़ता हूं कि कोलैबोरेशन निकालते हैं, कंसोर्टियम निकालते हैं। आप इनका कंसोर्टियम किसी के साथ बनवाते ना। ये मेरा एक आइडिया है, आप मेरे इस पे कितने भी विस्तार से बोल सकता हूं। SC/ST हब वाली मैडम हमारी बहुत अच्छी तरह एग्जॉस्टिव, आज मेरे को बहुत खुशी हुई कि मेरे को भी वो स्कीम्स नहीं पता थी जो आपने बताई। जब मुझे नहीं पता तो मेरे समाज को तो बिल्कुल ही नहीं पता होगी। आप समझ रहे हैं? मैं आपसे बहुत खुश हूं, आपने बहुत ही एग्जॉस्टिव और बड़ा एनर्जेटिक वे में उस चीजों को समझाया जो आज तक ये काम नहीं हुआ था। और मैं चाहता हूं आपको भगवान अच्छी आयु दे और अच्छा ओहदा दे और भी सरकारों में, कि आप हमारे दलितों को कम से कम ये स्कीम्स के साथ कनेक्ट तो कर रहे हैं। आपके पीछे जो साहब बैठे थे, नाम नहीं पता, उन्हें बहुत अच्छा कहा कि मेरे वहां दलित इंटरप्रेनर्स आ रहे हैं। मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा, कम से कम SC/ST हब को इतने साल बने, कोई दलित इंटरप्रेनर्स आ रहे हैं आपसे मिलने के लिए। मेरे को बहुत अच्छा लगा। एक सजेशन और देना चाहता हूं, जैसे हम एसोचैम है, डिक्की तो ऑलरेडी वहां पे है, ऐसे CI और फिक्की है, इनके भी आप चेयरमैन को अपने मेंबर्स बनाइए। वी विल गिव यू द इनपुट नॉलेज ऑफ दलित प्रॉब्लम्स, कि कैसे उनको जोड़ा जा सकता है। जैसे मैंने अभी NSDC के बारे में कहा कि आपके पास एक भी स्कीम ऐसी नहीं है जहां दलितों को आपने टेंडरिंग प्रोसेस में लाए हो। आप सिखाने में तो लिया है, उनको स्किलिंग तो कर रहे हैं, आई एम हैप्पी, पर उनको टेंडर में तो लिया ही है। हमारे ट्रेनर्स बहुत अच्छे हैं, कुछ कुछ ऐसे 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 आर्टिसियंस हैं हमारे जो सदियों से ये काम कर रहे हैं। झाड़ू बनाने का काम है, हमसे अच्छा कोई कर ही नहीं सकता। वहां फैसिलिटी मैनेजमेंट हमसे अच्छा कोई कर ही नहीं सकता। आप बड़ी फैसिलिटी मैनेजमेंट की कंपनियों के साथ हमारे जोड़ दीजिए। मैम इतना बड़ा सेक्टर है सर्विस सेक्टर, इसमें तो वंडर्स हो सकते हैं। और आप देखोगे अगले 10 साल में, यदि हमने सर्विस सेक्टर को ले लिया, कि दलित एक अलग से बड़ा ग्रुप होगा बिजनेस के अंदर। इसमें बहुत बड़ा रोल एसोचैम का है। जो ये सेंटर चालू हुआ, ये मेरे आने के बाद एक एसोचैम इस पे पहले से काम करता रहा, पर एसोचैम का मैं धन्यवाद करता हूं कि वो पहले दलित को लेके आए जिसको प्रॉब्लम समझ में आती है कि कहां हमारे परिवारों की। मैं ऐसे चैम्बर्स को बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद करता हूं जो दलितों को अपना हेड बना रहे हैं, अपने अफर्मेटिव एक्शंस को बढ़ाने की एक नियत है। SC/ST अब से तो मेरे को सिर्फ एक ही बात कहनी है कि इसका थोड़ा सा हॉरिजन बढ़ाएं। हमारे चैम्बर्स को, CI को, फिक्की को, PhD को, इनको भी अपने मेंबरशिप में लाएं। आपकी चेयरमैनशिप में आए ये, या आपकी मेंबरशिप में आए, सो दैट तो आपको एक पूरे दुनिया का व्यू मिल पाए, पूरे दुनिया का एक व्यू मिल पाए। और दलितों का विकास हम एक आदमी का नहीं हो सकता, एक आदमी का नहीं हो सकता। आज दलितों के भी बहुत सारे चैंबर्स आ गए हैं, आप उनके व्यू पॉइंट्स भी लीजिए, क्योंकि वो प्रैक्टिकली दलितों की प्रॉब्लम को समझते हैं और जानते हैं, क्योंकि वो दलित ही उन चैम्बरों को चला रहे हैं। जैसे डिक्की चला रहा है, डिक्की ने आज इतना विकास दलितों का किया है, ऐसे वो भी करेंगे। डिक्की यदि उसको 20% कर रही है तो वो भी 2-3% करेंगे। हमें तो 100% विकास करना है ना जी। जब 100% विकास करना है, 20% से काम चल नहीं सकता। दूसरा, मैं सिडबी को तो बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद है। सिडबी इज प्रोएक्टिव, और जितना सिडबी ने काम दलितों के लिए किया है शायद किसी फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशन ने किया। मैं उनका धन्यवाद कहता हूं, और बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद ये भी करता हूं कि आपने हमें ब्लेसिंग दी। हमारे इंटरप्रेनर्स को भी आपने हाथ रखना है, उनको भी आगे बढ़ाना है, जैसे आप औरों में भी करते हैं। ठीक है, मैं इन बातों के साथ अपना ये धन्यवाद भाषण समाप्त करता हूं, और सभी का बहुत बहुत विनय दिल से, विनम्रता से हाथ जोड़ के स्वागत करता हूं कि आप लोगों की सपोर्ट और स्ट्रेंथ हमें मिलती रहे, और हमारे दलित इंटरप्रेनर्स को एक आशा हो कि भाई आप लोगों ने उनके साथ खड़े होने का प्रयास किया। स्कीम सरकार की है, स्कीमों की तो कमी नहीं है। हम उन स्कीमों में से 20% स्कीमों को भी बहुत अच्छी तरह लागू कर दे। सभी हमारी एक ही प्रॉब्लम है जी, हमें एक रास्ता दिखाने वाला चाहिए और दूसरा बैंक सपोर्ट चाहिए। ये दो चीजें जोड़ दें, और इसके वे आउट मैंने बताए भी कि भाई कोलैबोरेशन है, कंसोर्टियम है। आप हमारे कंसोर्टियम बनवा दीजिए, बड़ी कंपनियों के साथ हमें टाई अप कर दीजिए, विच इज द आइडिया बिहाइंड अफर्मेटिव एक्शन। अमेरिका में मूवमेंट चली, उसमें क्या किया था सरकारों ने कि जो काले थे उनको, ब्लैक्स के, उनको सरकार के टेंडरिंग प्रोसेस में लेके आए। हमने वो तो सीख लिया इंडिया ने कि हम उनको टेंडरिंग प्रोसेस में लिया है, और हम उनको सर्विस सेक्टर ही अवॉइड कर दिया। जो हमने उसकी पॉलिसी तो ली, हमारा मूलभूत एरिया दलित यदि थे तो वो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग में नहीं थे, वो सर्विस सेक्टर में थे। आप उठा के देख लीजिए इतिहास। मैं कम्युनिटी वाइज भी कह सकता हूं, उस बात को बहुत ज्यादा विस्तार में नहीं कहना चाहता। आप दलितों को यदि समझते हो तो मैं 2-3 एग्जांपल दे सकता हूं। पूरा फैसिलिटी मैनेजमेंट, सफाई का जो धंधा है, देश में एक पर्टिकुलर कास्ट करती है, 2 कास्ट करती है। वो सफाई का जो धंधा है वो 1-2 पर्टिकुलर कास्टों ने किया। हम सर्विसेज में थे, हम झाड़ू बनाने में नहीं थे, हम जो सफाई करने के इक्विपमेंट्स है वो बनाने में नहीं थे, हम उसको उन प्रोडक्ट्स को यूज करने में थे। उनका 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 विकास, उनको करके सफाई करते थे, क्लीनिंग करते थे, मॉपिंग करते थे, या जो भी किया हमने सर्विस सेक्टर में किया। आज की तारीख में वो पूरा गैमेट, जो पूरी इंडस्ट्री है, तो दलितों के हाथ में ही नहीं है। मैं सरकार से आग्रह करता हूं, सारे चैम्बरों से आग्रह करता हूं कि उस पूरे सेक्टर्स को इन लोगों के साथ ले आइए, ये सर्विस सेक्टर में। दलितों की एक और बिरादरी है जो सूर काटने का या मीट का काम करती थी, जिसमें पॉक का काम था, गॉट का काम था, या ये काम था। हम ट्रेडिंग नहीं करते थे, हम उसको लाते थे और काट देते थे, दुकानें बेचती थी, वो भी सर्विस थी। तो स्लॉटर्स हाउस हमारे हाथ में आज की तारीख में है ही नहीं, स्लॉटर्स तो दूसरों के हाथ में है। बहुत सारे हमारे बिजनेस में एक लिस्ट आपको गिना सकता हूं जहां दलितों को प्रमोट करने की जरूरत है, और उनको वो ट्रेडिशनली काम आता है, उनको बहुत ज्यादा स्किलिंग की जरूरत नहीं है। उनको यदि स्किलिंग की जरूरत है तो अपस्किलिंग की और टेक्नोलॉजी की, इतना ही डिफरेंस आया है, इससे ज्यादा कोई डिफरेंस नहीं आया। दे ऑलरेडी प्रायर स्किलिंग, उनको तो सिर्फ आपने अपस्किल करना है, वो भी टेक्नोलॉजी वाइज। एक और बात मैं कहता हूं, हमारे दलित जितने भी पिछले 50 साल में बिजनेस सेक्टर में आए, बिजनेस में नहीं आए, सॉरी, सर्विसेज में आए, क्योंकि देयर इज अ पॉलिसी ऑफ रिजर्वेशन। आज हमारे आईएएस बहुत है, आज हमारे आईपीएस बहुत है, आज हमारे इंडियन फॉरेन सर्विस में बहुत है, क्योंकि सरकार ने एक अपॉर्चुनिटी दी बाबा साहब के दम पे। संविधान में वो लिखा गया कि इनको इतनी परसेंट रिजर्वेशन देनी है। ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ दैट रिजर्वेशन वी अब हम, मुझे लगता है हम बहुत ज्यादा सर्विसेज में आ गए हैं सर्विसेज में रिजर्वेशन पूरी है। सिमिलरली रिजर्वेशन की जरूरत है अब इस सेक्टर में, बिजनेस में। और आप 10 और 50 साल में, आज हम यहाँ हैं ना, मैं 20 साल ही कहता हूं, 20 साल में हम बिजनेस में इतने आगे बढ़ सकते हैं, सरकार सिर्फ सर्विस सेक्टर का होरिजन बढ़ा दे और पॉलिसी मेकर्स कोलैबोरेशन को, कंसोर्टियम को और कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग तो अपने आप हो जाएगी। ये दो चीज लागू कर दे कि बड़ी कंपनी से मेरा टाइप करा दे। एक तो वो मेरे को मेंटर कर देगा, दूसरा मुझे स्किलिंग दे देगा, तीसरा मुझे फाइनेंस कैसे करना वो सिखा देगा। आप समझ रहे हैं? मुझे वो मॉडर्न चीजें सीखनी है बिजनेस में। अब ट्रेडिशनली तो वी नो हाउ टू हैंडल, और ये जो स्कीम्स हमने बनाई है ना, इनका असलियत में जब ही बेनिफिट होने वाला, नहीं तो स्कीम फेल हो जाएगी। बस मैं फैक्ट्री लगाने के लिए जमीन ही नहीं है मेरे पास घर ही नहीं है, पहली बात तो रहने के लिए, किराए के मकान में मैं रहता हूं, जमीन नहीं है मेरे पास। मेरे बच्चे पढ़ गए क्योंकि 50 साल में हम आईएएस बने हैं, 50 साल में हम बिजनेसमैन बने हैं। तो मेरा एक यही है कि इनको आप सर्विस सेक्टर के होरिजन को बढ़ा दो। और मैं इन्हीं बातों के साथ आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद कहता हूं, क्योंकि मैं तो विचार बोलने वाला हूं, मैंने बातें बोलनी आती है और करनी आती है। किस तरह पॉलिसीज बननी है हम वो बता सकते हैं आप लोगों को, सिर्फ दलितों के विकास के लिए और बिजनेस के लिए। मैं वोट ऑफ थैंक्स करता हूं, मेरे को सभी का धन्यवाद इस प्रोग्राम को अटेंड करने के लिए और हमारा मनोबल बढ़ाने के लिए हमने जो सेंटर फॉर इंफॉर्मेशन एंड मॉनिटरिंग चालू किया है फॉर SC/ST। धन्यवाद जी।
Thank you, Gurdeep Singh Saab, for your kind words. And definitely, since you come from that particular, enterprising, the community, so you understand the grassroots level issues, challenges, and problems. That's where we hope that this center would be much in a direction where we are supposed to be, contributing and delivering towards the SC/ST entrepreneurs and startup ventures in this direction. And in the interest of time, Madam Shiza Nair ji, Shivangi Misra ji, Joshi Saab, they are present there. And we hope that in all such milestones that you have already achieved with all such, benchmarks, best practices, and contributing to the sector, a lot more is required. And in that direction, there would have been possibly certain areas where you might have faced some challenges, or some areas wherein the problems are still lying. And in case if we can be of some hand holding, that kind of the uses where we can bridge the gap between the SC/ST entrepreneurs as well as your institutions of good self from where you come, we would be more than happy to contribute. And the bridge between this and the Center of Information and Mentoring is supposed to be, having the information where there is gap at your end, or maybe the people or the participants who are not able to have access of the information. And we will try to keep upload all such information on our portal, as well as through emailing, through phone calling, wherever we can be bringing out some transformative impact and change. We will try to do our best towards the promotion, motivation to the SC/ST entrepreneurs, as well as for their sustainability of enterprises. So we look forward to your consistent directions from your side, new policies, the programs that you are coming up in future. We would try to play our role where we can be of some significance uses towards the SC/ST entrepreneurs at large. And we hereby invite, in case if you wish to add on certain views on this subject, or if you have anything to add on, please, I welcome Shivangi Nair ji, Shivangi Misra ji, one by one to please add on and share your thoughts, and then we will close by this session.
No, I don't have any comments. Thank you very much for having us for this interesting session, and we look forward to the way forward. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you, Shivangi Nair ji. Shivangi Misra ji, if you would like to add on anything.
Thank you, sir. No, I guess we are all caught up with the information which we have already been provided today. And I hope this new platform will serve the purpose which we have thought of and collaborate for the greater good.
Thank you so much. We would request you to please share
Special thanks to Sir Singh, sir, that I hope we can, work together for a longer in the future to come and collaborate for the larger good of entrepreneurs. I would be looking forward to working with you, sir.
And in that direction, we may try to reach out to you and disturb you from time to time, whenever, wherever we are supposed to be, working in this space.
More than happy, sir. More than happy. If you want, I can drop our number also and email ID also. Please reach out to us for any assistance, any collaboration you're looking forward to. We would be more than happy to help you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Shiza Nair ji, and thank you so much, Shivangi ji. Thank you, Gurdeep Singh Saab, for your presence, and also we are thankful to Mr. V. Satya Venkatrao sir, who graced the occasion as a special guest for this virtual program. And we look forward to many more such engagements and the knowledge-oriented programs on the subject where we have started the series. So National Dialogue series will go on within this subject of India affirmative action, wherever this gap is there and we are supposed to be contributing. So this series will go on at frequent intervals, and we will keep inviting you in such programs and invite your participation and thoughts. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, my team, Mr. Vikas Bardhaman and Jatin Kochar, for extending support throughout. And in case the participants, if you have any suggestions, your queries, in case if you are seeking further information, we would welcome your feedback, suggestions, queries on the email ID that you have on screen, santosh.parasar@assocham.com, or you may write to Mr. Vikas Bardhaman, vikas.bardhaman@assocham.com. We look forward to your continued participation, engagements, and your feedbacks as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.